Welcome, everybody, to the inaugural edition of Calling All Devs. I'm your host, Community Content Manager, Jared Huckabee. Now, if you're like most people, you're probably asking yourself, oh, what happened to Disco's beard? Oh, who is this hideous Quasimodo thing in front of me? 3.0 came out, everybody. But second, after you ask yourself that, is probably, what the heck is Calling All Devs? Now, Calling All Devs is our new weekly question and answer series where we take questions from you, the Star Citizen backer, and pose them directly to our developers, the ones that are most appropriate and most likely to have the answer that you're looking for. It's a lot like our old 10-4 series, except that instead of taking 1, 2, or 3 devs and taking an hour or 2 hours of their time and making them answer a wide variety of questions, many of which are outside of their realms of expertise, we are going to be short, fast, and take your questions directly to the people who have the best chance at, actually having an answer for the question that you are posing. Now, on our very first episode, because we don't have our question and answer thread posted on the forums yet, we are taking questions that I have chosen, ones that I've seen that you guys have posted on Spectrum. I've even pulled from Reddit, on things that have jumped into my Twitter mentions, the questions that I see that you guys have asked over the last couple weeks. And of course, after the end of the show, we will post a thread on the Spectrum, and you can now submit your questions and have them voted on, and and they'll be considered for future episodes of Calling All Devs. So for our first question on our very first episode of Calling All Devs, I've picked a question that I see come up quite a lot. Now, recently during the anniversary sale, we introduced land claim licenses, where folks could purchase a land claim license, and it starts the process, a very long process, to having your own plot of land on a planet or moon. We still got questions about how many that each planet can hold and whatnot, how many we're going to sell and all that good stuff. So I thought that I would call one of my favorite people here in our Los Angeles studio, Mr. Dave Haddock, lead writer for Star Citizen Squadron 42. Let's see if he picks up the call here. Dave.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Good. So this is that thing I told you about. This is the new show. You ready for me?
Yeah, totally.
You are our very first question on our very first episode. I like your avant-garde webcam, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay. So my question for you is very simply put: how many plots of land, or how many land claim licenses, will fit on an individual planet or moon?
That is a very good question. When we were actually doing the sort of the build up to the anniversary sale and stuff like that, obviously there's a lot of conversations about like these land claims and stuff like that. And I remember in one of the conversations talking with Tony that apparently, based off of every single Star Citizen getting one of the big estate pieces, if every single one of them got one, they still wouldn't be able to fill up a single planet. So
Yeah, that's right. So we've got 1.9 million Star Citizens. We're actually fast approaching the 2 million. I should probably start thinking about what we're going to do with that. But if all 1.9 million Star Citizens bought, there's two sizes of land claims. If they bought the largest one,
yes,
the
estate one,
they could all put them on a single planet or moon and still have room left over.
That's the calculation.
Wow. And how many planets or moons do we have in the game here?
Just in Stanton system, there's four planets. I'd have to look up to see moons off the top of my head, but three on Crusader. I think there's 3 on Hurston. So yeah, probably 8 to 10ish.
And then 100 star systems beyond that.
It's a lot. Yeah.
And then of course, if we do ever happen to fill up every single moon and every single planet, would you mind making more?
I'm going to not answer that.
All right, Dave. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show here today.
Of course, anytime.
All right, take care.
Later.
All right, so big thanks to Dave Haddock. Now, Dave Haddock, lead writer for Star Citizen Squadron 42. artsy type, black and white webcams, whatever. All right, love you, Dave. All right, our next question that we have here, this is one that I've seen on the forums and Spectrum quite a bit, so I think we are going to pose this to Matt Sherman. Now, Matt Sherman, if you spend any amount of time on Spectrum or the chat before that or Twitch chat, no stranger to the community. This is going to be a good question for him. Let's see if we can get him to answer here. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Jared. How's it going?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good.
So this is that thing I told you that I'd be calling you about. You ready? You psyched?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. So the question that I have for you today is one, like I said earlier, it's one that I've seen. It keeps coming up. It comes up after every couple ATVs. It's a term with multiple meanings here, and I thought maybe we could put some clarity into the situation. Simply put, what is modularity?
So,
easy one.
Yeah, like you said, it definitely does have sort of multiple interpretations. The core of it is going to come down to player-facing modularity. That's going to be the moment-to-moment choices anyone gets to make with how is their ship kitted out, what are their components, weapons, all that good stuff. But then at the same time, we've also got developer-facing modularity, and that's a lot of the setup for how are we going to be able to actually create and iterate all of this content that's going to populate the world of Star Citizen. So right now, the biggest thing for the player-facing modularity is really going to be your component options. It's definitely something that we're looking to keep fleshing out. I mean, we've got the alternate room options for the Retaliator, looking at a number of different things for other various ships, but a lot of it does become more case by case and how big of a win can we get for it. So I know long run we still have modules planned for the Caterpillar because that's its nice big segmented rooms. But at the same time, that modularity doesn't mean it's going to be just Legos. You're not just going to be, I'm going to pick this desk up and move it a half meter over to the side. Yeah. So there's still going to be some structure and form to it.
Gotcha. So, if I understand you correctly, when we see a developer talking on ATV and whatnot, we're talking about two different forms of modularity. There's the modularity we use internally to build things, like for the Avenger. We build an Avenger and then we build these little rooms that go inside it sometimes. But then, like the EMP and whatnot. But when we sell things, then there's the market modularity, if you will, the way in which we present certain ships to the community, ships like the Retaliator, where it has modules like the bomb bay and the living quarters that you'll be able to swap out.
Yeah.
So even though we use the term in two different ways, and I think that leads to a lot of the confusion at times.
Yeah, and we also have recently been showing off a lot more of the developer-sided modularity. So just a month or so ago, when you did the Outpost Happy Hour with the UK team, that's a great example of developer-facing modularity because it's, hey, set up these wall prefabs, set up these node prefabs for, okay, this is this bed set and it's for this manufacturer, this style. The planet demo that we showed, like the planet generation demo, the building out of the Idris and the Javelin videos that I heard about a month or so back, where it's those, hey, here's these Aegis giant ship hallway chunks. So that's a lot of that developer facing modularity where it's how we're able to build a giant multi-star system game without killing ourselves.
Gotcha. So two modularities, one for you, one for us.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for your time, man.
Sure thing.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Of course, Matt Sherman, no stranger to answering questions for the community. Thank you so much, Matt, for your time here on the show. Now, this next one that we have, this is one that I've seen all over Reddit and Spectrum and whatnot. This has been a question since the system was first introduced. I've got a question for Inner Thought that I think would be perfect for our own resident UI design expert here in the Los Angeles studio, Mr. Calix Renault. Let's see if we can get him to pick up. Hey, Calix. How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Sorry. Thank you for answering the phone.
Took a second.
The phone.
Yeah.
Is it still called the phone? And we're gonna have to figure out what the new terminology is for calling all devs. You're not answering the phone. It's answering the Skype call.
Yeah, answering the call.
All right. So this is that thing I told you about. I told you I'd be calling. Thank you so much for answering.
No
I've got a question for you from the community that I think is right up your alley.
What you got?
The Inner Thought system and player interaction in general. One of the major new features introduced in the recent Star Citizen Alpha 3.0. Is that it? Is that all we're getting? Is this it? Are we done? Did we make the thing and we're out?
Yeah, as
What's the deal
usual.
here?
As usual, we're finished from the gate. No, it's so much of this is coming together still. We're iterating on it and doing all kinds of things, including doing a whole other aspect to it.
Really?
Basically, the interaction system is really good for finding things in the world to click on and interacting with them in bespoke ways. Just go out there and see what you get. But it's not so great at things that don't really have a logical place out in the world. Like, where would you click exactly to exit seat, or to holster your weapon, or
Dance.
to do your emotes. So we have a little personal inner thought radial wheel that comes up and gives you access to all that stuff. And actually, I am working on that now, so I can share my screen right now.
What fortuitous timing.
Yeah, hold on. Here we go, and let me. Yeah, there it is.
This
So-
is gorgeous. Look at this.
I know. It's living the life, and it only gets better.
Okay.
So when you trigger it, the radial wheel comes out, and you can select from a whole batch of things that will look prettier than this when Art gets a chance to touch it. Currently, I'm doing the structure of it, making it so that it responds and does the design that we want, and then Art gets the chance to make it not green and ugly. And
Gotcha.
so, like, for instance, this box will be a little image to indicate that when you select this, it opens up a sub menu. So you can do things like, hey, you can turn on and off your flashlight. And like I said, you can exit your seat. You can, find all the emotes that we have, interact with your various tools, and yeah, so it's coming along. And it's just a matter of iterating on it, getting it over to Art so that they can have it ready to put out.
Gotcha.
Push out to everybody.
So if this were similar to the ship pipeline, this is sort of like a white box phase.
Yeah,
For-
yeah. Actually, that's pretty apropos, because like this is everything is placed, everything is working, and it's just not pretty.
All right. Well, that's all I got for you, man. Thank you for your time today.
Cool. Anytime, man.
I'll let you get back to work.
Later.
All right, so that's Calyx Renault with some exciting look at the upcoming future of our interaction system. Now, the next question, this is kind of a fun one. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek one. It's about dance emotes, and we are lucky enough to have our animation director for Star Citizen Squadron 42, Mr. Steve Bender, here in the office. So I'm going to give him a call right now. Let's see. Steve?
No.
God, what are you doing, man?
Steve's on the beach drinking beers, relaxing. I'm in the office working. So
You're in this office?
yeah, it's basically since I was here for a couple of days, they put me at Steve Bender's desk. I don't know why. It needs to be doused and basically sanitized.
All right. Well, I don't suppose you want to answer a question about dance emotes, do you?
No.
No. Okay. Then right off the top, tell us about 3.1. What are we looking at for 3.1?
Well, I think, well, for us, we saw 3.0, and as Aaron stated, and other, basically we stated in development letter that, in order for us to move over to this date-driven release, we needed to get 3.0 out the door. But 3.0 going out the door, there was a lot of stuff that we felt wasn't up to snuff, and we needed to get optimizations better. Just because of the overall frame rate. Then there were other usability aspects that we felt we needed to improve, and even just players understanding what they can do and what they can't do. And then even if you think about like the item 2.0 combat visor screens and those types of things, where we worked really hard on those, they didn't get to the quality level that we all wanted them to get to. So it's working towards and finalizing a lot of the issues that we felt were should have been part of 3.0, but just kind of kept on limping on, and the guys were working very hard on it. It just didn't come to be.
Okay. And what brings you to LA again? Before we leave?
Well, it was basically Christmas, and so I came out here, visited some family, and then from here it was just all right. We need to travel back, but I wanted to get a couple of days worth of work in to meet with Paul and basically everybody in the studio and just talk about 3.0, 3.2, so on and so forth, and making sure that when we're transitioning from these feature-driven plans over to basically date-driven plans, that it goes as smoothly as possible.
Oh, the life of a design director is never boring, is it?
No, and in fact, I got a new title now.
You did?
Yeah, which is Star Citizen Live Game Director. So, and that's not boring either.
No, it's not. All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Star Citizen Live Game Director.
Thank you.
You can expect calls on future episodes with more questions now that I know that Star Citizen Live Director.
Okay. Well, then I'll make sure not to answer.
Take care, man.
All right, Jared. Take care. Bye.
So, wow, Todd Pappy is here in the LA studio. That's awesome. All right. Last question. Last, but certainly not least. I've got the question that has been on everybody's mind. There's nowhere I can turn where I don't hear this question left and right. So I am going to go straight to the top. I'm going to go to the studio director for Cloud Imperium Games Los Angeles and head of U.S. production, Mr. Eric Davis. Let's see if we can get Eric on the phone here. Eric, how you doing, man?
Oh, hey man, what's up?
Not much. This is that thing I told you I was going to call. And
Yeah. I remember.
Going to put you on the spot? Okay.
Calling all devs or somebody?
Calling all devs. Thank you for the brand awareness.
Yeah. Well.
All right. So I've got a question here. The 300i. The 300i. Where is it? Where's our rework? When? What's happening?
When?
Help me out.
It's the production part of me. That's why you have to ask the when question, right? I can't go without a when. Okay.
Yeah.
300i. That is a great question. The rework. It is, I believe, the last of our original 5 pledged ships.
It is.
300i. And from what I understand, it's one of the most owned ships.
Yeah. On the recent accounting that I had to do for ShipShape, it was like number 5 total ownership amongst all ships.
Wow. So there's a few people interested in what's going on with 300i. Okay. Fair enough. All right. So the 300i. I'm going to have so much information for you. It is definitely on our radar. It's definitely one that we want to rework. It is on the agenda to work on, as you'd expect. Mm-hmm. I can't give you more information of what the date is. I know you're asking for it. We're looking at 2018. We're looking at what the long term is for a lot of the ships. Being one of the last rework ships, we're definitely super interested in getting that done and out from under us and getting in everybody's hands so we can keep moving on to the new ships and the fun ones that are coming up. So I can't give you more than that, but it's definitely on our radar. And I think you're doing ShipShape now, right, Jared? So is it going to be on ShipShape in the future?
Yes. Well, thank you for mentioning that. We do have a new ShipShape segment every month on Around the Verse going forward.
Awesome. Well, I think that might be a place that gets updated.
That might indeed be the place we find out more about the 300i.
Awesome. More information to come for sure, but being an original and being a rework, the guys get really excited. We're doing the Mustang rework, and it's looking really good. And it just seeing that ship in the studio gets us really jazzed. So the 300i, it's coming up.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much. I'll let you get back to your work. Eric Davis, studio director for Cloud Imperium Games Los Angeles.
Thanks, Jared. See you later, man.
Bye. All right, well, that about wraps up our first inaugural episode of Calling All Devs. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember that there is a thread up on Spectrum, Spectrum being our own bespoke communications platform on robertspaceindustries.com, where you can submit your questions and vote for them. That's the two-part thing there. It's not just submitting questions, it's also voting on which ones you want to see posed to developers and answered the most. So be sure you vote. Be sure you go back and you check for new ones and you vote for the new ones, because we'll be doing this each and every week on Monday to start our week of Star Citizen broadcasts. So for Calling All Devs, I'm Community Content Manager Jared Huckabee. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.